Hey, good morning. It's Kaylin with Remax Real Estate Center.
And Lisa Sieversyk with Global State Mortgage.
How's everybody doing on this sunny June? Oh, it's not June. It's May 31st day.
It's May 31st day.
I should have looked at your calendar. What day is it? Yes.
Hey, we're right there.
We're right there. Yeah, absolutely. What do we know, right?
I don't know. Time flies.
Time flies, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really expect a blizzard in May.
Do you have is it blizzarding? I see sunshine, Kaylin.
Yeah, no, I had a blizzard in my driveway, literally.
She lives in a whole nother world.
I do live in a whole nother world. I live in a world where there are cottonwood trees on my front yard.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So if anybody has cottonwood trees, and I did not plant the cottonwood trees, they were there long before the house was. They left them there. They're beautiful big trees, but in May, they seed.
Yes, and they're just like piles and piles.
This year is one of the worst. I literally had a drift in my driveway. I'm not kidding.
Did you get your
I did.
shovel out?
I did.
Did you?
I'm like, this is kind of when I wish I had somebody there to videotape
Yes.
me, because I could have,
You could have called me. I would have come.
I took my snow shovel, and I have one of those yard waste, cans.
Yeah.
So I'm shoveling. It's kind of hard to. It
And then you do that, and then they fly out, and you're like, stand!
So I'm trying to hold it with my hand and put it in the thing, and yeah, I was scooping up cottonwood seeds.
Yeah, actually, I left the top down on my car the other day too.
Yeah, bad time.
And you get in, and you're just like, what? And it's like, you're right. There's little piles,
of it.
and then you go, and they're like coming out the side. It's like a parade. It's confetti.
You got confetti. Oh my God. Yes, and then every year, all year long, I'm pulling up little startups because there's
it's like
millions.
maple trees too.
Yes,
Cottonwoods,
same
maple
thing.
trees. Oh,
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I did last week. I'm scooping up.
Cottonwood
I'm like, I have my snow
seeds.
shovel out in May. How bizarre is that? So anyway,
Which is crazy because we were talking about tonight. Kaylin and I are going to a dinner.
We are.
Because in March was
When
Reggie's sleep out, but it was blizzard.
Right. So it was a sleep out to raise money for YSS for in memory of a gentleman who was a teen, really, and a homeless teen, and so anyway, they have a sleep out at Jack Trice Stadium in March, and we raised money for that, and several people were going to sleep out, and the blizzard hit, and canceled it. So,
and of course, the sleep out is in the middle of our football field for Iowa State,
right?
And we didn't want to ruin the field, and it was like crazy.
Yeah, it was driving weather. It just wasn't conducive for people to come out and do that. So,
right. Although there was some really people from your office that slept out.
They did. They slept at Bill and Tracy's farm, and they went and they camped out. They said, "We raised money for this. We're gonna
do it."
Yep. So anyway, we're going to the dinner tonight in regards to that. So anyway, that's why we're all spiffed up today. Yes, we are. So yes. So hopefully we're done with the blizzards until next January.
We sure hope so.
I hope so.
Right?
Because the cottonwood tree is starting to settle down a little bit, but man, what a pain that is every spring. And I apologize to my neighbors. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I can't control this.
I didn't plant them.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, and I can't do anything about it. So anyway. But.
Fun.
Yep. So I have a closing tomorrow, and the buyer's going to be getting a book called an abstract.
Yes, in fact, I just saw some people walk out of our office, and they were walking out with their abstract.
Yeah. So if you live in Iowa, you may be familiar with this. Although it's amazing when I talk to sellers, I say, "Well, I'll need a copy of your abstract."
And they give you the deer in the headlights, right?
What is that? It really is the written history of the ownership of the property. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I would say it can be like the Hatfields and McCoys, right? Like if there was an argument, somebody got mad, it's recorded.
It's recorded here. And I think these are pretty cool. I always like to look inside them and kind of read the first transaction because it's always so cool to me when you read the first entry is the United States to a person. So it says in the United States to this person. The original entry was dated August 23rd, 1854.
Yeah, that's
cool. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And if you're not from Iowa, here we get these.
We do. It transfers from property to property. So it stays with the home until time of sale, then it goes to the new buyer. And this one is not that old of a property, but it's pretty thick because it's in a subdivision. So whenever land is purchased and then plats and it's subdivided again and lots are made and covenants and that sort of thing. So they're a little bit thicker for the new ones. So sometimes you'll get one that's pretty thin if there hasn't been a transfer for a long time.
Or if they lost it.
Or if they lost it, yes.
And they have to recreate it. Don't lose it.
Yeah, they're very expensive to replace. So $1,500 at least to replace an abstract. So if you currently own a home,
know where it is. Look for it.
It's, we would recommend you keep it in a fire safe box or in a safety deposit box at a bank. But that's very important to keep, and you really don't need it on a daily basis.
No, you're only going to need it when you go to sell the house. Right. I always tell people at my closings too, like I forget who told me this way back when, that your freezer is a fireproof safe.
Yeah,
so for a short term, put it in a Ziploc baggie and stick it in there.
Yeah.
But don't take, when you go to sell it, don't go call Kaylin and, it's next to my vanilla ice cream.
Right.
Schwann's.
Yes, exactly. And it's dripped all over. And so, yeah.
We don't want that.
But we will need it at time of sale. And then the other thing too is a warranty deed.
Yes.
Now this gets filed at the courthouse at the time of transfer sale, and it's very important to know how you're going to take title.
Right. So when you're doing your loan, so your realtor and your loan officer is going to talk to you about how you want to take title. If you're a single person, if you want somebody on the title with you, because I have had some people that want like a parent or something else, because your title is actually part of your estate planning purposes. So
yes, it is.
Once you own a house, you want to think about how you're going to take title. So if you're buying it with somebody, you can take it as joint tenants, meaning that if one of you were to pass away, the other one receives rights to the property.
Right. It doesn't have to go through probate, and you don't have to go through that process. So this particular deed is joint tenants with right of survivorship and not as tenants in common.
Right,
tenants in common would be if you essentially you're each owning half of it.
Right, if there's two of you.
If there's two of you. And so if one passes, it doesn't automatically go to the other. So
it gets
a little complicated.
You would have to have more legal description and things in your will and other things about what happens with your half of the property.
Right.
But it's an important part when you own a house that you know how you've taken title and that you've taken title correctly for your estate planning purposes.
It is because that can really complicate things when it's the most stressful time of your life. So in my situation, the joint tenants, there was just a new deed filed and there we go. It was done. So you don't have to go through that process of figuring out how this is all going to work. So a warranty deed and the abstract are two very important pieces of that closing and selling process and buying process.
Right. So that abstract too, just so you know, on our end, the realtor or the seller will take it to the abstract or update it. And if there's any liens or judgments against the seller, they will be needed to take care of before you buy the property, which is why Iowa has actually one of the cleanest titles because we actually take care of it instead of just insuring over it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. We don't have to have title insurance here to insure for any problems. We take care of those problems as we are reviewing this abstract and finding those
transferring
things.
The property.
Transferring the property, those liens are cleaned up, and then you get clean title. So that's a very important thing.
But that can delay a closing sometimes too. If the seller happens to have some things that they either weren't aware of or just hadn't taken care of.
Yes. Or if your name is Joe Smith. And there are 6 Joe Smiths out there with judgments against them. You have to show that you're not that Joe Smith.
Right.
So I have somebody right now with a very common name, and so some other judgments came up in that abstract search, which is a good thing.
Yes.
But then you have to prove that you're not that person.
Right.
So it's pretty easy to clean up. But if you do have something out there like a speeding ticket that you never paid, it might come up.
So pay your speeding tickets.
That's right. Pay your speeding tickets.
And your mortgages, your HELOCs, anything filed against the house is also, it shows up in your abstract. So that's how we also figure out who to pay off when you sell a home or different things like that as well.
Right. So if you have any other questions about your abstract, if you can't find your abstract or don't know where it is, you might want to keep a lookout for this little book. It could be really thin or it could be really thick, depending on the type of property you have and when the last time it was updated. But
and we just had somebody come in the other day that couldn't find his, and so we tracked it down and showed him, here, you signed for it, right? But somebody always signs for it.
Yes.
So if you don't know where it is,
there's a paper trail.
Talk to your lender, talk to your realtor, because there is a trail, either from your closing or something, that somebody should be able to tell you at least who signed for it last.
Yes.
And if you signed for it last, you gotta find it.
You gotta find it, or you have to have one recreated. Oops.
Yes. Oops.
Yeah. So
there goes $1,000.
Exactly. You have to spend that $1,000 on something fun,
Right.
you know.
Vacation.
Yeah, like, or donating it to Reggie's Sleep Out.
Or donating it to Reggie's Sleep Out.
That's right, exactly. So, well, everybody have a great Thursday. It's beautiful here. I hope it's beautiful wherever you are.
Yes, and hopefully you're not scooping cottonwood seeds.
Exactly. Sorry, neighbors.
Have a great day.
Bye.